Hi everyone! So continuing with my Halloween themed Disney DIYs, I thought I would show you how to make a Cinderella costume. For this costume you will need 1 to 2 yards of blue fabric, 2 to 3 yards of blue tulle, a blue tank top, ruler, Velcro, pins, a needle and thread, scissors, fabric glue, and a large sheet of paper. I just used 6 sheets of printer paper taped together. And of course I will put all of this in the down bar below, and I will include the prices and where I bought everything. So to start, take your waist measurement, then add 2 inches, and take this new number and divide it by 6.28. And this will give you the measurement for the inner circle of your skirt template. So just unroll your sheet of paper, and like I said, I'm just using 6 pieces of printer paper taped together, and put your ruler at the corner of your paper and just make some dots at the number that you got when you took your waist measurement, added 2 inches, and divided by 6.28. And just move your ruler a little bit by a little bit to make dots in a quarter circle, and when you are finished, connect the dots, and it's probably easier just to watch what I'm doing. When you are finished with this, you will want to decide how long your skirt will be, and I made mine 20 inches. And I didn't have a ruler that was 20 inches, so I used this piece of ribbon that's 20 inches. And you're just going to do the same thing as before. Put the ruler or ribbon in a corner and make some dots in a quarter circle, and then connect the dots. Once you are finished drawing your template, go ahead and cut it out. You are then going to want to cut your blue fabric to be a square with the measurements of the length of your skirt times 2 by the length of your skirt times 2. So because my skirt was 20 inches long, my square is 40 inches by 40 inches. And you are going to take this square and fold it in half so it is a rectangle, and then fold it in half again so it is back to being a square. And when you do this, one corner should have only folded over edges, and that is the corner that you are going to put your inner circle on. So your inner circle is facing the corner that only has folded over edges. And once you have that put where you want it, go ahead and pin it down. Once you are finished pinning your template down, go ahead and cut out your fabric. This is easier if you have sharp scissors, and fabric's easier to cut if it's being pulled tight, so you might want a friend's help. And when you are finished cutting it out, you can unpin the template, and when you unfold your fabric, it should look like a giant donut. Cut a new piece of blue fabric that is a small rectangle. The length should be your waist plus 2 inches, and the width should be about 6 inches. And we are going to fold this in half long ways, and I will be using my fabric glue to do this. So I am just opening up my fabric glue right now, but then I am going to just put a little bit of fabric glue and then fold it over, and then I'm using my pins to pin it down in place. So this is just an up close look at what I'm doing. I'm just putting a line of fabric glue, and then I'm pressing the 2 sides together. And then I'm going to take some pins and pin it down to keep it in place until the fabric glue dries. So next I'm just taking my tool and I folded it over about 2 times, and it is about 1 foot long, and then I'm just going to cut it. And then I will be cutting it in half. And then I'm just going to cut it so it has one rounded edge, and it'll kind of look like a half of an oval. And then I'm going to take my needle and thread, and I'm going to sew it along this straight edge. And when you're sewing tulle, you have to make sure you put a lot of knots at the end of your thread, because otherwise it will just get pulled right through. So then I'm going to take the other half of this tulle piece that I cut out, and I'm just refolding it so it's a little bit cleaner. And then I'm going to put my already sewn oval, half oval on top, and I'm going to just cut out the other half so it looks the same. And then I'm going to take my needle and thread again and sew the straight edge. So next I'm going to take my skirt and cut it in half so it is no longer a circle, and I'm doing this because this makes it a lot easier to sew things to it if it is no longer in a circle. So then I'm going to arrange my skirt out and place these two half of an ovals on either side, and I am going to start to sew them down. So I'm sewing the middle part first, and then I'm going to sew the two edges. And when you sew the two edges down, you'll notice that it kind of poofs up in between the middle stitch and the edge stitch. So once I'm finished sewing down the edges, I will go through and sew down those poofed up pieces. So in total, each of these half of an ovals will have 5 stitches on it. So it will look like this. It will have 1 stitch in the middle, 2 stitches on either side, and then holding down the poofed up pieces. And I have now pinned the other side, and I'm just going to sew that side down also. So I'm starting with the edges on this one because it's already pinned down, but it will also have 5 stitches, the middle, 2 edges, and then the poofed pieces in the middle will be sewn down. So next I'm going to take the waistband that we made, and I will just be pinning that down on top of the skirt. And I'm pinning it flat because when it is sewn like this, it will just make everything look neater and cleaner. And once I have pinned it down, I will sew it. And I'm just going to sew it all the way across where I pinned it, removing the pins as I go. Once it is sewn, I'm just going to take it and wrap it around my waist to find where the two edges overlap, and once I have that point, I'm going to mark it with a pencil, and that is where I'm going to put my Velcro. I'm going to put one piece at that pencil mark where it overlapped and a second piece at the edge of the skirt. And when it is all finished, it will look like this. One piece where it overlapped and one piece at the edge on both sides. So when you put them together, it looks like this. So next we're going to work on the top, and the first thing we're going to do is make it a sweetheart neckline by finding the middle of the tank top and going about 3 inches down and then sewing loosely up. And I really want to make sure this is going to stay, so I'm going to go back through and sew all the way through those gathered up layers of fabric a couple times before tying it in a knot at the top. So then I'm going to take my tulle and just fold it over about 3 times, and this is only about 5 inches wide, but you can make it wider or not as wide depending on how you want your top to look. And then I am just going to gather up one of those ends and I will sew it together really well. When I'm finished sewing the tulle, I'm going to put that on top of the strap on the tank top and sew that together. And I am actually sewing it a little bit above where I sewed the tulle together, because when I'm finished sewing the tulle down to the tank top, I'm going to trim the bottom of the tulle off. So the original part of the tulle that we sewed together will be cut off because I just thought it looked a little bit messy, but it is completely up to you. You can leave it on if your sewing looked a little bit cleaner. So once that is sewn down, I'm just going to bring my tulle around and see where it meets the back of the tank top. And when I find that point, I am going to pin it there and then get my needle and thread ready, and I'm going to sew that tulle together in the back. Just the same as we did in the front, I'm just going to gather it up and sew it together really well. And then I will trim off the extra once I feel it's been sewn down enough. Once the tulle is sewn together, I'm going to put it on the back side of the tank top and I will sew that down to the tank top. And once again, I am sewing it above where I sewed the tulle down because I thought my sewing of my tulle was messy looking, and so I am choosing to cut off those ends. And once I'm finished cutting everything off, I am going to do the same thing for the other strap. So now we're going to make our glass slippers, and I just bought a pair of inexpensive shoes, silver spray paint, glitter spray paint, some bedazzle jewels, and we will also need a hot glue gun. So to start, I'm just going to shake my can of silver spray paint and then start spraying the shoes. And I found I needed about 3 coats of spray paint to really cover the entire shoe. So once the silver spray paint is on, I am just taking my glitter spray and I am spraying that on. And I also did about 3 coats of this, and it doesn't show up on camera, but it is really sparkly. So then I'm just going to take my jewels and hot glue those on, and you can put them in whatever pattern you want. You don't even have to use them if you don't want to, but I just put the biggest one in the middle and then I went out to some smaller stones. The last thing you need is one of these skirt pooper can things, but they are really expensive and they're also really easy to make. And to make them, you just need a stretchy headband or a piece of elastic and some tulle that is double the length of the skirt you want. You're then going to fold the tulle in half and put the folded end under the headband, and then pull the loose ends through the loop that you made and pull that tight. And you will need to do this around the entire headband or piece of elastic, which means you are going to need about 2 to 3 yards of tulle. And when you're done, it should look like this. And it will work just the same as the store-bought one, but it is a lot cheaper. And then your costume is all finished. You can wear your glass slippers if you would like to, or you could just carry them around as a prop. But either way, it is a super cute outfit. So thank you so much for watching this video, and stay tuned for more Disney DIYs. I will see you soon.